First of all, I want to tell you that today is a date for me, the 1st of May. He was arrested for the second time, the 1st of May. Since then, it had been a long, lonely life without anybody, without any friends. I was among enemies, simply. And I had to live this life. It was very difficult. For 6 or 7 years, I lived in this place. And here I have found many friends, but not of my generations. Everybody is younger than me. Only young people are around. The old ones are still enemies. For example, the writer Kavirin, who wrote me a horrible letter about my book. He took offense about Tinyanov. He thought that I hadn't treated Tinyanov so as he did. It shows that we don't need any liberty of thinking or writing. Nobody can stand that another man or woman have another opinion than he has. The letter was horrible. One can't address such a letter to an old woman. But he did it. And another woman, Lidia Korneyevna Chukovskaya, is writing a book against me. I wish I could see it. It will be very comical. He is righteous. She is always right. It is her first idea. Nobody can be right but her. What can I tell you about Mandelshtam, if you know nothing about him? That he was a very fine man, that we laughed very much together. It was never dull with him, and we were very happy, even in the most horrible times. It was not because of me, but because of him. In the days we often quarreled. Both had insupportable characters, but in the night we made love. It was a great success. It is comical to speak about sexual success at 73, but it is. But it was the reason why we lived together. We couldn't live without each other. I tried to be unloyal to him, but I didn't succeed in doing it, because everybody was worse than he. Поняли? Неприлично. Сумасшедшая старуха. Что вы?
How did you meet Mandelshtam?
At a cafe, at a nightclub. And the first day we went together to bed. The very first day. It was also the 1st of May.
Was that custom in the time to make love so quickly?
We did it. We were the beginning of the sexual revolution. We had nothing to lose. I didn't want to marry anybody. I didn't want to marry Mandelshtam. I tried to be independent.
But you were married to him. In the essence.
It happened so. It simply happens so.
What was it like to be married to him?
I can't say. The nights were good. The days were difficult. He didn't let me go anywhere. He wanted me to be always present and with him. He didn't want me to make any friends.
Was he egoistic, so?
It wasn't egoism, it was something else. Let me go anywhere. He wanted me to be always present and with him. He didn't want me to make any friends.
Was he egoistic, so?
It wasn't egoism, it was something else. He was very strong-willed. And I was light-headed. So it was a bit difficult.
How did Mandelstam at first appreciate the revolution in the beginning?
He has written about it. He had written about it.
In what book?
In poems and so on. He thought that it would be a democratic state. Afterwards, he understood that it was quite the other way.
But he hopes that it could be.
In the beginning, he did. In the 30s, he understood that it couldn't be. I think he was rather revolutionary. But he was not satisfied with the revolution. He didn't understand that it was becoming a slavery for everybody. I understood it first.
Why was it at first that Mandelstam was not allowed to publish?
It was very early. In 1923, it was the beginning of his violence.
And why was that first?
Why? Because he was другого теста. Из другого теста.
From a different mold.
From a different mode. He was not a Soviet writer. And he didn't want to lie. So he simply couldn't lie. He wanted to lie, but he didn't want to. Да? Да, Юраша. Здравствуйте, милый. The main feeling was a great pity for him because he was surrounded by enemies, and the main enemies were the writers and the poets, the so-called poets. They always said, why can't he do as we are doing? But he couldn't. He was another kind of man.
I wonder whether you still, after Mandelstam's poetry for a part has been published in the West, do you still know all of his poetry by heart?
No. The prayers had come into the memory, and I begin to forget the poetry, and I don't know what to do with it.
Is there among all of his poetry one or a few that you love best and would say?
I can say the стихи о неизвестном солдате и осы. Как осы? Not the bees. И bees пчелы. Это осы. Дикая. окруженный зрением узких ос, сосущих ось земную. Я помню все, с чем свидеться пришлось, и вспоминаю наизусть и всуе.
Do you believe in, did Mandelstam believe in the power of the written word?
The power of written word?
Yes.
I think nobody believes in it after Dostoevsky, because if they haven't heard Dostoevsky, whom would they listen to? Ours is a sleeping country. Everybody is sleeping, you know. Если он это пустит сейчас, это будет ужасно.
You write a lot about Christianity in both of your books, but what did it mean for you or for Mandelstam to be a Jew?
It didn't mean anything, simply that we were Jews, nothing else, and that we were Russian Jews.
But in the fourth prose, Mandelstam has written that it was impossible to be a Jew and write socially accepted literature in the same time.
Maybe. I know it by heart. Цыганское племя. Вороватые цыганщины писательского племени. He felt that he was a Jew. And I nearly didn't feel it. I am Christian from the birth.
What is your dearest memory of Mandelstam?
Everything is a dearest memory. He himself is a dearest memory. We didn't part because I believe in our meeting in the other world. I'm Christian and I believe in it. He did. He even wrote it to me. Любви было никогда.